Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with another episode of Walk Switch Schla. And it's just been a rush. I mean, I guess the day is going by quickly. I suppose I can't deny that the day is going by very quickly. But I don't know what can be done about that. I mean, is it still going by quick enough, though? That's really the question. I think we're past the midpoint, but as a percentage, let me try to figure out where we're at. I want to guess it's right around we're 60% through the day. I don't know. I'm trying to do math in my head, but I'm kind of struggling to do it. It should be right around 60%. Because the second... Actually, is it? I'm not going to do it. I just haven't been thinking about anything. I just think I've been trying to figure out what I want to do, in terms of buying stuff. So there's that. And yeah, I think that's like about it. Just gonna be making like one last purchase because there's some good deals going on right now. It's probably gonna be the keyboard, and then that will be that. It's I don't know. I'm scared. I'm fearful. No, I'm just saying random stuff. I don't know. It's going to be difficult because, like I said, I really have lived a life of almost no restraint. I feel like in 2025 and really the past couple years, and to have a goal to not spend money, it's a little daunting for me, because I've really been living free, and having that restriction, I'm worried. But at the same time, there's not really anything that I really need at this point. I mean, that is definitely an angle to look at it as. Like, the keyboard is kind of the last piece of the puzzle, because the only other thing I would want is a better GPU. But the problem is it's very expensive, and I really wouldn't get that much out of it. So it's just kind of like abstract, or like it will always would be a good idea to get more storage. But it's another thing. It could just, it's like a few $100s for something I don't really need, So I am kind of at a point in life where I just don't really need anything. Like, I really do have a lot of very good things, and I think it's a very wise decision for me to embark on this journey. I think it's an extremely wise choice on my part. So it's just something to keep in mind, I suppose, moving forward, moving into the future and whatnot. It's something to keep in mind. It's certainly something to keep in mind. So yeah. Now, in terms of a depth of content, I did paste the transcript of the previous episode into GPT, but I don't really think I got a chance to read it. I guess I could read it now. That would be like a bit of an interesting idea. I know I've done that before, but I don't know. We can see how it goes. I just don't know about how well that goes, because it's like reading and trying to speak at the same time, and I don't want to just read what GPT said, But yeah, it was basically, I did think it was interesting. I'm not very, like, I don't know why I forgot about this, but it was that thing about how Thanksgiving actually does still fall in an ancient tradition category, because it's always been like some kind of harvest ritual. So actually, maybe Thanksgiving should be my favorite holiday. I don't think I've ever been overly drawn to it, though, personally. But at least that kind of reassures me that, yes, there is some kind of esoteric meaning behind there. It's not just about the Pilgrims and the Native Americans. There's more to it than just those guys. So that's actually very reassuring. But I don't know that the fall has ever really been my favorite season. When I think of my favorite season, I think it probably was spring when I was younger, but it's definitely winter. I think winter is my favorite season aesthetically. But now that I actually had this conversation in a car rides with Schla. I want to estimate it was about 2 to 3 months ago. And yeah, I talked about this, how like aesthetically I like winter the most. But when it comes to actually having to live through it, I have definitely become a summer person. You know, when you're working, the summer is a better time for certain. The only thing that's frustrating is, of course, during my breaks, it's sweatier in the summer, which is terrible. But yeah, actually, that makes it a tough debate, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm not really sure. And then, yeah, I don't even know how I came up with all that, because I'm just very burned out. I think that's been kind of evident, besides that random super great episode on Tuesday. So you kind of wonder, I guess I wonder too, is there really a point in just constantly recording, especially if all my talking is going to be filler talking? I don't really know. I guess the purpose is archival, just obviously more content is better, but that is to a point. I mean, you could argue it's kind of a waste of time what I'm doing. Maybe I shouldn't be recording right now. I'm not entirely sure. You know what I mean? So I haven't really thought too much about that. But it's just such a routine. It's so much about keeping up with the quantity, and then it's also a combination of just not having anything better to do, as I've explained multiple times. So I think it's just how it is, and hopefully this isn't some of the bad episodes hopefully aren't people's first impression of me. I'm assuming the AI titles will kind of stick out to reflect the nature of a particular episode, so that shouldn't be a problem, because I don't know why somebody would click on an episode like this. So hopefully it just stays at 0 views and doesn't really end up amounting to anything. So I guess the purpose is a bit conflicting, but I just think there's a joy in recording and running my mouth at this point. And I don't really think it matters whether I actually have anything to say, because I just think I enjoy speech that much. And like I said, there is still some kind of skill building to be had when you just force yourself to talk constantly. It really is. It's like aggressively attacking the brain and basically carving out new rivers and different channels, I think, for an infinite conversation, which would be the ideal. I mean, ideally, it would be pretty impressive if I woke up and basically just live streamed my entire life and just talked basically the whole time. I think that would be extremely impressive, and that's kind of what I would hope to do at some point. I think I would like to live a life like that, where it's just everything's completely live. Every single thing I do, I'm live streaming, including sleeping, and just interacting with people who come into the stream. I think it's an ambitious mission. It's an ambitious mission, but it's a little bit crazy, but I think that's okay. You know what I mean? I think it's okay. And that's where I think I'd be best suited, honestly. And it would be talks like this, but it could be all the time, and it would be a million times easier because, you have a chat live stream going on simultaneously. So that definitely helps. Definitely helps a lot. And moving forward, I don't know what is there really to do. It's all I'm not sure. Kind of losing where I was going here. But yeah, it does build a muscle. I just don't like it because I'm sensing a lot of this stuff I'm talking about now. I've already probably talked about it and been through it, so it gets to be pretty redundant. So maybe you could argue like there's no reason to record, but like I said, I just don't. I mean, what else would I do? I would just listen to music, or so it's becoming a compulsive behavior. I mean, for better or worse, it's definitely a compulsive behavior. I think the other thing too, though, here is a good point. You never know when I am going to say something that is like actually relevant or important. I mean, that's happened in some episodes where I'm talking and nothing's really coming through, but then randomly something will come through. And then so it's like, I obviously, if I just don't record, if the mic's not running, then even one thing I would say might get missed. I mean, that happened when I chose not to record and eat my breakfast, but like in retrospect, even though I was eating my breakfast, I actually wish I had just kept the mic running anyway, because there could have been a point, and it kind of feels weird. I mean, it almost feels like I'm in a cage when the microphone's not running, because there's so many things that I think of to say or, want to say or whatever, and they don't end up like materializing. So that's pretty rough. You know what I mean? It's pretty rough. In all honesty. And that's like the same thing goes for this. I mean, I know there could be a lot of empty space or a lot of empty speech, but that's kind of missing the plot, because the whole point of the plot is to have the mic run. I mean, sorry. I'm remembering what I was talking about. Sorry. I was talking about how I feel like I'm in a cage, or I'm stuck when a microphone isn't running. It has become like an obsessive, and it's become a compulsive behavior, because at this point I just wish I recorded like everything. Like I just, had a phone sitting in my pocket all day just recording everything. I know that's not entirely feasible, but that's like honestly a dream of mine, just always having microphones running on me, so that if I ever had anything relevant to say, it would just already be recording anyway. There's not even any thought put into that. But I know you're not really allowed to do that. At least I definitely couldn't do it at work. I could probably do it in public, but I think it depends on the state and the state's laws, and probably like different stores and stuff like that. But ultimately, I'm not even, I mean, I don't have any interest in recording it's just mainly like self-recording. So that's kind of that's like the dream, and that's why I want a 16 Pro standard size, because that would be the recording phone, because it's smaller than the 16 Pro Max that I have, but it still has those good studio microphones. So, that's kind of why I want a 16 Pro, but you know, it is what it is. I can't really do anything about it. Maybe someday I'll get both when they release an iPhone. I'll get the, when there's like the iPhone XX. Well, if they do a single size for the XX, for the 20, if they do a single size, then I guess that would work in my favor, because it would be one size that would be slightly larger, because I think the whole point is a complete elimination of bezel. And so if they're probably going to increase like the smallest size just up to 6.5 inch screen, and so there's probably just going to be a 6.5 inch screen, if I had to imagine. Or at least that would only be if they're doing things like they did for the original anniversary iPhone, the 10, but that's not necessarily how they're going to do things. So I guess I don't really know. They could just do like a 20 and a 20 Max. That isn't, it's not really that crazy given just how, I don't know, like silly of a decision that kind of was with the 10. Like, it was kind of weird that they did that, but it kind of makes sense. But I just think at this point they might be a little bit too competitive. Like, Apple might be, they may not really want to do that, because it's definitely just going to cause lost sales and things like that. I don't know. But, on one hand, it probably would cause a slight bump in sales, and that's probably why they do it. Because since it's a full-blown redesign, there's going to be some people that just have to have it, and then the next gen, but they might not really want the smaller screen, and then the next gen, they're just going to buy the bigger screen, having already bought the first one. Whereas, so then you're getting like two sales out of the same customer. Whereas if there was like a max version on the first 20, maybe they wouldn't have even gotten the 20. Like, they would have just gotten the 20 max, and then they would have skipped the 21. You see what I'm saying? So there's stuff like that goes on too. There's stuff like that happens as well, where they're probably, I'm sure that is calculated into effect, and that would be interesting and I guess convenient for me, because I would probably just get the 20 and then the 20 max. It's probably what I would, or a 21 max the year after, and then I would have my little special recording device, assuming it's good for recording, which there's not really any reason to think it wouldn't be, but I'm just saying it really should have better microphone performance. But I'm just saying, like, I guess you never really know with these things, but I'm just saying that would be the idea. But yeah, someday I think that would be a cool thing. I've also thought, like, if I was rich, I would just buy all the colors. That's like another thing I would do if I was rich. It's a shame I'm not rich, because I would lead a very interesting life, and I still wouldn't even want or need as much money as like I still, there's like so many. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, and it is ridiculous, but I'm just saying, like, compared to a lot of stuff like other rich people do, I think that's it. I think, like, if I was rich, I would just have, I've said this before, just a nice car, nice, up-to-date, tons of technology, and then that's it. Like, I wouldn't do anything, like, past that. You know what I mean? I already make, yeah, so I don't know. I'm really not like a greedy person. It's just tech. I'm just so obsessed with tech. So if it wasn't for tech, I would be living like way modestly. Like, if you remove tech spending from my life, I'm incredibly modest when it comes to that kind of stuff, So just stuff to keep in mind, I suppose. Suppose that's a good way of looking at it. And yeah, I think that's about all that needs to be said about that. But I just, because people might think of me as just like greedy or materialistic, and that is somewhat true, but at the same time, like, I do genuinely live a fairly trim and organized life besides that. So it's just the tech. But I'm pretty excited for that. I'm obviously skipping 2026 though, as that would be my my saving year. So it all kind of works out. It all ends up working out in the end. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to really say? Sorry I didn't get too deep, but my brain is in desperate need of a break and a recharge, I think. Or, maybe the stimulation of another human, but of course, that's pretty hard to come by these days because humans are pouring all their stimulation into inanimate objects, which is truly a sad situation, but what can be done about it? I mean, I just don't know what can be done about it. Can't do much about it. It is what it is. It's just how the cookie crumbles, I suppose. I try to do what I can, but I don't know. Do I even try hard? Do I try hard enough? Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy. I'm doing a lot of quantity, but we got to figure out how to boost the quality of these episodes. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I want to feel like every episode has a place, and this one sort of did. I mean, I sort of came around, but, it takes a while. It takes, like, a little bit of talking to actually get anywhere. And then a lot of times, once I got somewhere, my break's over, So, you just have to see it as training. I'm training my voice for these, like, rapid, like, bam, 20 minutes, bam, 20 minutes, But the truth is the long term, well, the long term's already easy for me. That's the whole point. But it's these, like, rapid things that are hard. But again, like I said, if there was a stream, if there was a chat, if there was more prompts, if I was on a computer, I could easily figure stuff out. Anyways, it's been schla, but now it's time to buy schla. So, see ya, schla.